What if I told you that keeping secrets from your family and friends is okay? In fact, it's absolutely essential after 60. In this video, I'll share 5 things that I don't think you should tell your family and friends under any circumstances, and particularly after you reach the age of 60. After 60, life changes, family dynamics change, you just evolve, and it's best to leave certain things unsaid. I'll go through these things in reverse order, starting with number 5, health. Now, my good friend is an orthopaedic surgeon, and I've known him now for the best part of 20 years, and there's one thing that he always keeps saying, that once you reach 70, the wheels start to fall off. And I know what he's getting at. What he basically means is that until 70, most of the time you're in pretty good health, you've got the energy, you can do things that you want to do, but by the time you get to 70, things are likely to start going wrong. And let's be realistic about it. Once you get past 70, you're definitely in the final chapters of your life. Your family and your friends don't need to know all the details of your health problems, particularly once you get into that stage of life. I mean, I've recently had gallbladder surgery. It's 3 weeks now since I had my gallbladder out, and I'm feeling brilliant. But I haven't talked much about it with my family at all, and particularly with my wife. And the reason I haven't done that is that I don't want to worry her. And I don't want to worry my family unnecessarily. There is no need to go on every single day about how I'm feeling. And the 18 months leading up to the operation was actually quite a rough ride. I mean, there were times when it was obvious I wasn't well, and my wife knew that. I was in agony, so I couldn't really hide that. But most days I had some symptoms relating to this gallbladder problem. But I suffered in silence. I just dug my heels in, and I just worked through it. It was my problem, and I didn't want to burden her with that. So if you've got health problems and they affect your quality of life on a day-by-day basis, but it's not obvious that you've got them, then my advice is just keep them to yourself, because I think in this particular instance, a problem shared is not a problem halved, it's a problem doubled. At number 4, I've got regrets. I firmly believe that you should not regret anything that you've done in life. It happens. Things happen. We don't get it right all the time. Everybody makes mistakes. But the one thing you don't want to be doing when you reach your 60s in particular is regretting things that you've done in the past. And you definitely don't want to be sharing those regrets with people either. I do believe that you've got to be 100% accountable for your life and everything that's happened in it, from your successes to your failures. They're your failures, and you should keep them to yourself. I've got a 26-year-old son, and I'm keen that he doesn't make some of the mistakes I made, particularly when it comes to business. But what I don't want to give the impression of to him is that I've got regrets about those things, because ultimately the business that I created was successful. It may not have worked out exactly as I'd hoped, but it generated enough money for me to live a good life and create a pension pot at age 44, which meant I could retire. So the last thing I want to do is to burden him with regrets. But what I would like to do is to share my experiences with him, and if I spot him making some of the mistakes that I made, then I'll certainly step in and offer advice, but I won't link them to regrets. I don't reflect on my regrets at all. Certainly since I turned 60, I believe in living for the day, in the moment. Now is the important time. I mean, I'm sat here, I'm by the River Ouse, it's a lovely day, I'm making this video, that's all that matters right now. It doesn't matter if 20 years ago I dropped a bit of a cod. Who cares? Nobody cares. So don't share those things with your family and friends. At number 3, I've got politics. I never talk politics with anybody. On this channel, I get a lot of people parachuting into the comments and airing their political views, and I really wish they wouldn't, because politics is such an incendiary topic, and it's not really appropriate for this particular channel. This is a channel about retirement and living your life, and I do get a lot of the woe is me brigade parachuting in and blaming everybody but themselves for their situation. The Americans blame Trump, the British blame the Tories and they blame Brexit. And as far as I'm concerned, if there's one thing that I don't want to talk to people about, it's politics. I have got political views, and the only time I'll express those political views is when I go and vote. But I won't talk with anybody about them. And I think it's wrong to particularly share your political views with your family and friends. It's the quickest way to fall out with people. If you've got one view, for example in America, if you're a Republican who supports Trump and somebody in your family is a Democrat, then it can cause lots of problems. The same in Britain, Labour versus Conservative, and the latest one that everybody's jumping on the bandwagon is to talk about reform. So politics, as far as I'm concerned, is something that you should just keep to yourself. When you get two people on opposite sides of the political spectrum, it's very hard for them to agree, and it's even worse if they're close family and friends. At number 2, I've got wealth. I don't believe you should talk to people about money, and I never give financial advice. Everybody's number is different. What is enough for you might not be enough for somebody else. The things that you like to buy, somebody else might hate those things. So I always believe that when it comes to money, wealth, finances, you should keep your own counsel. And I also believe that you should keep your own counsel when it comes to those things in relation to your family and your friends. The problem with sharing too much information on your finances with your friends in particular is it can cause envy, and it can actually create divides. If you're doing better than your friends, then there's a good chance that they will look at you and they won't think, oh, that's fantastic, I'm so pleased for them doing so well. It'll have the opposite effect, if anything. They'll be not very pleased and they probably won't want to hang out with you. I'm not advocating that you should look poor. I have seen quite a few videos on YouTube where people talk about the importance of looking poor, and I can see the point of that. I also don't think you should flaunt it. Now, I haven't always followed this advice, which is why I'm giving it now. When I was in my 40s, I was a little bit over the top when it come to showing off the trappings of my success, and it was a bad thing. It didn't actually work out well for me. It actually attracted some dodgy characters into my life, and it attracted people who were fake friends, who were more interested in what I had. They weren't really interested in me. So I do believe when it comes to wealth, you are better keeping it locked down, keeping your thoughts to yourself, and not being overly showy if you're doing well. Number 1 on my list, my last thing, is inheritance. If my wife outlives me, it's fairly straightforward. She'll inherit everything. However, if I'm the last person standing and I outlive my wife, then I haven't revealed what's going to happen to my assets. I don't know how many of those assets will still be around in, say, 20 years' time, if that's how long I live, or even 30 years' time. One thing I have read about is that retirement has a bit of a U-curve. You spend quite a bit of money at the beginning of retirement, and then it dives away to practically nothing. And then if you end up being somebody who needs care or some form of nursing home, that type of thing, then the spending curve goes back up again, and that really bites into your assets. So I don't believe you need to make firm plans for those assets. And certainly I don't think you should reveal to your children exactly what's going to happen with those assets. I don't want my son to take it as an absolute guarantee that he's going to inherit everything when me and his mum are gone. I think it's better that he makes his own way in life and creates his own wealth. And if he just happens to have a bit of a windfall when we pass away, that's fantastic. But there's a good chance that I might have spent everything by the time that happens. So I don't think it's right to give him an expectation that he's going to have a decent windfall. So those are the 5 things that I think you should keep secret from your family and friends. Or at the very least, you should keep a lid on them and be economical with the truth. What do you think? What are your thoughts? How open are you with your family and friends? Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. This video was actually inspired by my father, who was a person who always used to talk about keeping your own counsel and not telling anybody things. So you might want to watch this video next, which was the final words that my father told me that made me change my life for the better when I was just 44 years of age. Thank you very much for watching. It's good of you to drop by and spend time watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.